And we're so lucky to have all of you with us this morning. And for those of you who haven't met me yet, I currently have the wonderful honor of serving as the president of the U.S. Board of Directors of the Siddhartha School Partnership. And we're so delighted to bring this teaching to all of our supporters. The Siddhartha School Partnership supports Khensur Rinpoche's proudest legacy, which is the Siddhartha School. And our mission, our only mission, is to provide the children of Ladakh access to a rich and thoroughly modern education that is in harmony with their Himalayan heritage and their cultural traditions. So we're just so grateful for each and every one of you. We're so grateful for Rinpoche that he is going to continue his sharing of his wisdom with us this morning and for the next 7 mornings, the second Sunday of every month. So we're just so pleased to have you with us, and I'll hand it over to Rinpoche. Thank you.
Yeah.
Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merits of listening to the teachings, may I achieve Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Rinpoche, would you want to do it in?
Sengye Rinpoche Lobzang Tsetan.
May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment and anger that holds some close and others distant. Grant your blessings so that my mind may be one with the Dharma. Grant your blessings so that Dharma may progress along the path. Grant your blessings so that the path may clarify confusion. Grant your blessings so that confusion may dawn as wisdom. Shamatha. Rinpoche, we request the teachings.
Okay.
The earth is perfumed with scented waters and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun, and the moon. Imagining this as a Buddha realm, I offer it so that all beings may enjoy that pure realm.
Okay. As I mentioned last time, I'm going to talk about briefly on Four Noble Truths, which is the Buddha had first turned Dharma well at the Varanasi after he enlightened. He gave this first teaching after he enlightenment, between gap maybe 1 week gap after enlightenment. Then many of students, many of nearby and gods asked him to, now you are trying to teach. So then he first turned well, which is about the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths. Maybe you all have heard or think about it many times. Also, you might have got this teaching from many great masters, include His Holiness the Dalai Lama, about the Four Noble Truths. Actually, it is very important about, for the introduce of the Buddhism is consequence of the Four Noble Truths. It comes from without knowing Four Noble Truths, then it's quite difficult to understand Buddhism base of Buddhism, to understand base of Buddhism. So when His Holiness the Dalai Lama, when he teach, he start from Four Noble Truths, and he advised to all the Geshes and Rinpoches who are teaching the Four Noble Truths are more important for the Buddhism introduction, for base of Buddhism. So it's very deep and profound teaching, but if I go very deep, so it's quite difficult to understand. I also have not much knowledge about it, but I will short and brief talk on Four Noble Truths. So also the Rinpoche said we must have to check students to how to take path to enlightenment through the Four Noble Truths, not another way. We have to flow by Four Noble Truths. So this is very important one. So this is the base or fundamental of the Buddhism, also the essence of the Buddha's teaching, Four Noble Truths. Also, it is first turn of the well, first Dharma turn from Buddha. Also, actually, Buddha was born in very rich family. You all familiar to hear about it. He was a prince, and he was born in big kingdom. At that moment, his father was the most powerful and most rich people in the at that time in the India. So the Buddha belongs to that family, and he used to have a very wealthy and very good family. He also had a wife and children, but he finally keep out from this, and he went to forest and he become enlightenment, because he saw actually in the miracles and predict they show he will become enlightenment if he do become monk, and if he continues in the kingdom, he will be more powerful and he can keep all his followers very happy. So his father wants to him in kingdom, not want him to make monk or to send him to heritage. So finally, the Buddha had round to the nearby town, and he saw lots of suffering and birth suffering and aging and sick suffering of sick, and of course the suffering of death, dying. So he saw all of this, and finally he tend to be on the become he kept or he eliminate all the kingdoms, his prince life, and become gone to the forest and keep meditation, and then finally he achieved the goal, which is enlightenment. But we have to think one, he had scared about the suffering of the birth and sick and died, but finally he also have dismissed, right? And he also has died because of for benefit to all, and we are also going to be die. But then the question is why he die, even though he realized the suffering of this all. And what is the difference between his diet and our ordinary people die? And what is the benefit of learning teachings, learning Buddhism teachings? And Buddha also himself had scared about these all sufferings, and finally he also died. So, but we have to think and analyze about it carefully. This question should become there. But okay, this is one question. So actually Buddha had eliminated or exhausted all the defilement, and he finally at the stage of the time to die. This is the the flowers will be die because of the sufferings. This is the one reason. Actually, he renunciation is called renunciation, right? He renunciation about the samsara after consequence of experiencing lots of sufferings in the world. So he become enlightenment to exhaust the defilement. So he knows they have method to eliminate our sufferings, and he show us what is the method. But his followers still we don't respect his teachings. That's why we are still in the still in lots of suffering, feeling lots of sufferings. So for us, we as the Buddha, he eliminated his reputation, his name, his profit, all his wealth behind them, and he goes to red. But for us, why we are suffering is we more desire, more passionate to about reputation, our name, our wealth, and there's a more difference. So to get real happiness, long-lasting happiness, we have to keep them behind our to fully happiness, to get fully happiness. So Buddha has done the same. Buddha has done this. So he taught about Four Noble Truths to how to become happiness, to how to realize the suffering, what's the cause of the suffering. If we eliminate all the causes of the suffering, then what we will get, finally what we will achieve. So he taught about the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths, that the truth of suffering, truth of origin of the suffering, truth of sensation, and truth of path. Or his first followers of the Four Noble Truths is non-Buddhism. We call Kunshikyutana. He turned 3 times about the Four Noble Truths, 3 times. Only on the Four Noble Truths. First is only about we called in Tibet, Buddhism says, Dine Dunga Pape Temba, Dine Kunju Pape Temba, we call like this. This is called truth of suffering. This is called truth of origin. This is called truth of sensation. This is called truth of path. This is first run about the Four Noble Truths. So this is for the identify. It is called identify. There are 3 lines. One is for the identify, one is for the activity, one is for the effect of the activity. So first run he taught is for just for the identify. Then second turn is for the activity. Then third one is effect of that activity. So first is only to identify it, what is the suffering, what is the origin of the suffering, what is the sensation, what is the path to get sensation. So these all are, so Buddha has done this. So firstly, he taught like this. Then second time, Dunga Shepacha, Kunju Pamacha, Kobang Lam Kumbacha means we have to understand, we have to know, understand the suffering. We have to realize suffering. Then we have to eliminate origin of the suffering. Second, then Dunga Shepacha, Kunju Pamacha, Kobang. We have to keep, how to say, we have to understand sensation. Then we have to meditate path. We have to practice about the path. So this is the second run. Then third run is his flowers, I understand suffering, I understand origin, I understand sensation, I understand the path. These are three different turn of the Four Noble Truths taught by the 3 times by the Buddha himself. At first time, his flower was become, he perceived the emptiness, and then second turn, all of his flowers become nirvana, and third time all they becomes Tajumba, fully exhaust the defilement. They become Tajumba, we call it like this. So at this time, His Holiness, first time is about ground, and His Holiness, when the teaching about the Four Noble Truths, his explanation is about not identify activity and effect. He explanation through the ground, path, and fruition. Fruition means final result. So when his first run of Four Noble Truths, it's called ground, same as identify. And the second one is path, same as activity. And fruition is effect, like this. His Holiness to when he's teaching the Four Noble Truths, matching for this one. So why Buddha has taught Four Noble Truths? Because all phenomena has becoming two, which is to be accepted or the adopted, or that, and another things are to be rejected. We don't want. So which is we want, it's final two, that truth of sensation and truth of path is we have to accept. And the truth of suffering and truth of origin, we don't need, we have to reject it. So all of the phenomena included and in these two kind, and to be adopted or to be rejected. So suffering and we all sentient beings, or we all sentient beings don't want to get suffering, and we are willing to get happiness, but we don't know what is the method to get free from suffering and how to eliminate the suffering. So we are going to learn Dharma practice. Mostly people think, and the opposite one is we all want to be happiness. That there are more method to get happiness, and there are more get way to and strategy, lots of strategy to get happiness. through the financial, through the smile, through the generosity, all of many things. But actually they can help to reduce some suffering. But this is, we not get fully happiness and peace. So we must have to get tried by the inside, our spirit. Our spirit motivation is very important. Not only external development, internal development, internal practice is very important about it. So we are talking about Four Noble Truths. So if we talk about suffering, there are lots of suffering, but they're all content in three sufferings, which is changeable sufferings, and which is we called happiness this time. They are also suffering. This is on second one. And third one is our body, which is caused by karmic and defilement. There are three kind of suffering. The first changeable suffering is we all know, even though the animals also feel it. They worked on, which we call the I is very terrible, is very horrible, is very destruct, is very frustration. So they are all the suffering we know about it. Is when we get a sick. This is also the changeable sick, or the sufferings of suffering. We call sufferings of suffering. Dungal ki dungal, we call it suffering of suffering. We all get this suffering. Then second one is changeable suffering, which is happiness. We in the universe, they have a lot of happiness. When we have enjoy by it, we get happiness for a moment. And who is familiar to football? When he get football play, he got some satisfied, and this is also he feel happiness. And lots of happiness we can see around us, but they are for the moment happiness, not long-lasting happiness. There could become suffering, which is changeable sufferings. So normally we have lots of happiness. There could be we find lots of beautiful, lots of flowers. They can give us some happiness. Yeah. So if we eat a lot of, if we're hungry and if we eat lots of the overwhelmed food, then the next time it could be cause for the suffering. We go for toilet and all. So this is the also suffering, or changeable suffering. So, but we don't know this is suffering. We think it is long-lasting happiness is this one. We can't realize it, the long-lasting happiness. We now from the external things we get happiness are goes into the changeable suffering, not real happiness cause. So we all more familiar to get these sources of happiness, not real sources, not ultimate sources. So we think this is the real sources of happiness, and we still going towards this happiness. to flourish our happiness while having trouble and having angry. So these are, we think, to control our mind, these sources. But they are also, the Buddha called it is also suffering. If we think the Buddha is like nonsense talk, we call it is happy, but Buddha called it is suffering. Why? We all are very want to happy and goes towards this. We want happy and go for take a walk, right? And we want happy. We want to see happy and go to garden and buy lots of vegetables and lots of food we prepare to because of to get happy. But Buddha has taught it is cause for the suffering. It's quite interesting, right? And all we know what we wanted, we go follow this because to get happy. And we know also which is unwanted, we are not going for this. But all of these existence are causes for the suffering he taught. So this is these all the we perspective resource of happiness is also the sufferings you taught. Then what is the root of this suffering is the third suffering. We call all pervasive condition of suffering. You call it. Third one. It is our body. All of the physics, our physics are cause for the rebirth in the samsara. Our physics, our mind, our defilement mind, our destructive mind is the, and our destructive physical is since all the defiling aggregates are the causes that samsara existence. So this is we called third suffering. So first suffering can understand by all sentient beings, not only the human beings. And we had special wisdom, we human beings have special wisdom to realize the changeable suffering. And finally is most very difficult one. For this one, we have to more practice and to get eliminate from the this third one is quite this is more relative between religions. So it is. So what the kind of we see happiness in the world is the old nature of the suffering. We have to understand all these happiness are the natural of this or suffering. So these are the just for the Four Noble Truths of the truth of the suffering. So if I give example for for three suffering, when we get sick, when we get some wound on the hand and a cut on the hand, this is like third one. So when we get itching, we goes to court itching. So for the while itching, we get some happiness, we get some happy enjoy while the itching. Then too much itching, then it causes for the suffering, lots of red and finally it can't be healed very soon. So our body is like this wound. Then we want to be happiness and we go for sources to get happiness, but we don't know the real sources of happiness, and that could be become suffering of suffering. So we don't know about the what is the real source of the happiness, and we is, convert into suffering. Right? Actually, we all don't want to be get suffering, but to be happiness, but we don't know this one. Then we have to think one we call ego, selfless. Actually, I feel sick. We all get sick, but we don't know where is I, who is suffering, who is getting sick. Is me sick or is my hand sick? Other part of the body getting sick. We can't conceive it. We can't perspective it. We can't practice about it. We don't practice. But in our mind, our part of our body are more same as our body. If our hand gets some happy, if I want to take a walk and get happy, then we get satisfied of happy after taking a walk. But is it food actually it's your part, but it's not you. But when we get some sick, the doctor can consult and treatment your sick, but can't treatment yourself, your egoless self. He can treatment your only the kind of the sick. He can give a treatment and he can give the medicine to get out from this sick. So we have to know is my sick and my physicians are quite different. That can be separate, not together. So we call it is selflessness. We all have to egoless, but we are all not thinking about it. This is we all have to this thing about. So why? Actually, there's lots of external things to get happiness. Then why they are lack? Why they are shortage to get us happiness? Why? This is because of I think it is unsatisfied. Because of unsatisfied, we get lots of sufferings. We can't control when our desire is overwhelmed. We have to control it when it's overwhelming, but we can't. So we have to satisfy it where it comes to our mind. There's lots of things. Without satisfied, if we have lots of suffering, even though who is the player, football player, cricket player, they all are very interesting on the football. And who is more interesting, they are not care about the weather. When the weather is too much raining and a lot of mud, they are still playing in this ground. Why? They have more interest in this. And then finally, if he lost his score, then his mind will be very destructive through it because of the unsatisfied. Also, who don't interest in football like we, if they are still good weather and not running at good ground floor, we go to football, we say, oh, that's not good. This is not good because we have not interest and we don't anything about the which is correct or which is not correct, right? So we have to. There's all causes of most of causes are comes from unsatisfied.
Rinpoche, do you want to
Okay.
take some questions?
Oh, yes. Okay, so okay, fine. Okay, how is the time? Is 10 minutes left or 15 minutes left?
Yes. Yeah, a little less if we want to have any sitting time and a few minutes of prayers. But we
Okay,
could,
sure.
yeah, 10 minutes.
Okay, sure, please have. I thought to talk about very brief for Noble Truth. It goes so long about the even not finish about the suffering of truth. I'm sorry. It's going to take long time to it. Yeah. Okay.
You become lost in the Dharma. It's wonderful. Just go right down into it.
Okay. Okay. So if there any question, please ask me about the sufferings, and if you are already know about the Four Noble Truth, and if they have any doubt, please ask me.
So if you have a question, you can just unmute and ask.
Rinpoche, I have a question. So I found that in the past year, not listening to the news has helped with my suffering. So I know that sometimes technology is a good thing and sometimes it brings us suffering. I mean, it brought you to us today. It brought us all together. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. And then the other thing, your word unsatisfaction. I try to start my day with things that not so much are satisfying, but that I'm grateful for. So do you think that helps with not suffering, to work, to focus on our gratitudes? So that's kind of a two-part question. So.
Yeah. Yeah. About the technology, it is wonderful. Yeah, but we have to control technology. Technology should not be control us. Lots of people we are controlling by technology. We are not controlling ourselves to technology. That is the one reason, I think. But technology is very great. Without technology, grateful of technology, we could face to face, even though how kilometers, how very distance is there. So the technology is great, but we should satisfied about it and control it when it's overwhelming. And when we get some notification on the and vibration of the mobile phone, we immediately obsess, immerse into the technology. So actually technology not comes to us. We are going towards this. So we are going for get suffering from it. I think it. So control ourselves is good. So, and another question is, yeah.
Oh, just gratitude, starting our day with gratitude. It always feels like that helps combat or fight off feelings of unsatisfaction, as you
Right.
mentioned. Just that when your mind is focused on, I am grateful for the sun and my family and my
I understand.
so,
Yeah.
but to start the day, it sounds so simple, but it feels like it starts the day off.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
thank
but
you.
yeah, the especially when the this time, the COVID time, so lots of people could not go outside and could not do what we like, what they like, they can't do anymore. This is the one cause get anxiety, lots of stressful for, and I think because of the, before I mentioned that lots of unsatisfied and lots of exaggerations. We get lots of exaggerations and this is right thing, this is not right thing. So we can't uh, we can't say which is right and bad. So and uncontrolled it. So lots of anxiety. They have lots of causes about the anxiety. I can't say because some anxiety causes from external and some is kind of this is from the internal. For the external things, it could be better by the some medications and like this. For the internal causes for the anxiety and nervous and how does it has lots of stressful to soothe the stress. Meditation can help a little bit, but also keep mind balance. And essential of keep mind balance is meditation and awareness about it. So it could be help. I think this one.
Just to follow up, Rinpoche, with, I think like with Sydney was, I don't know, when she was talking about technology and things that can cause us suffering and like turning off the news, like hearing so much in the news. So thinking about the conditions today, like in India, it's so difficult right now with the pandemic. So how can we apply these teachings to the situation that we have with the
Yes. This is about the our mind have to subside. So at this moment, lots of the His Holiness is also webcasting during the pandemic for the all over the world during how to subside, how to control our mind. But we have to think all of the this situation not a natural. All are comes from the cause. Some bad causes are there. Some bad causes and bad habituals, bad karmic are behind there. So these are just for high and low defilement, I think, high and low sick. If you think for the COVID, that pandemic is very horrible and terrible, but some kind of causes for dying is more horrible than this. I'm not sure that about if we say this, that many young same as my young generations will not believe, but to be, we ourselves want to, before I mention, want to be happy, but they don't know how to get happy, and they goes towards the cause of this pandemic. They cut the rule and they don't wear the mask and go to there, and it's affected. They are not taking care of self. They immerse to financial. They need more financial, and they are not awareness of the pandemic because of the financial. So they do everything they don't. So then when they get affected, then finally they are, I am get affected, I'm suffering. And the cause of suffering they did already. This one. So at the time for the Dharma view, we just climb your mind during the pandemic, and you have to perceive the rules, what we have to take care about the rules, what they describe, and just meditation. And who have the affected, they must have to meditation and not worry about it. Just think about Lobzang, we called. I get lots of suffering because this is cause for my previous life karmi. It's effect of this one. It's effect of this one, and it will be eliminated soon, and lots of my suffering will be also get out. Kind of these small things. So if we think about it, then we can be stay happy. And there are lots of things to do. Stay in home, they can stay meditation, they can do lots of things, I think, and reading books. They can spend lots of times. Yeah, I think like this.
Okay, great. So I think, Robert, did you have a question?
Yes. Rinpoche, can there be any suffering when there is true no self?
Sorry?
Can there be suffering in the presence of no self? Selflessness?
Selflessness. Yes, there has. If we excuse all the ego and ignorance, there's no suffering more. We call selflessness comes from ignorance. One called is ignorance. We called selfless is also the ignorance. When we clean our ignorance, all the desire, all the anger, all the other part of the negative emotions comes from the ignorance of selfless. When we excuse or eliminate all these self or ego, then we are free from suffering. Yeah.
Well, that is
So,
the perfect
yeah, it's very
ending.
difficult. It's very difficult to find out which is ego, which is ignore. Yeah, we don't actually we know the happiness, we know the suffering, but we don't know the origin and what if we do when then what we will get happy and what we will do what we will get suffering. We don't know this. Then our ego helps to this mind and lots of defilement is there, come overwhelmed. This is like wellspring of the all emotions, our ego. Yeah. So there are two mentions about ego in the Dharma Kiti or all the Kumbhalutu Nagarjuna is called is they are not only the equal opposite of equalness, selfless is the relatively and cause and effect, and emptiness is the ultimate view of emptiness is the opinion of the ego. But another theory like mind only class and there's some theory they don't. There another ego. They mention another ego. So we will talk about it when it comes about the truth of sensation is more clearly, I think.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's a great place to kind of wrap up, since we're out of time, that, you know, if we are egoless, then we can have no suffering. It comes from all of the teachings. Thank you so much.
Everyone should pray for India now. It's very critical situation in India. Very poor circumstances, especially India, is a lot of spiking every day. And the number of cases are increasing and patients are trying is actually time to morning period of the mourn is time. And after a few days the Sagadawa is starting. You all know about Sagadawa. After from 12th, it's starting the lunar calendar. It's Tibetan calendar. We call it Sagadawa. Maybe you all hear about it. It's a very good, great day for the Buddha's flowers. We call it also the Umgyurtawa, means what we do good deeds, all the kind of good deeds becomes into multiplied 1 lakh multiplied good deeds. So we call it also multiplied 1 lakh month, we call it, because what we do good deeds on this month, this coming month, we will have more merit and more virtue to get. So maybe you know that about the Sagadawa. And during the Sagadawa, we can have one time to talk about it. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, Rinpoche. We'll just do our closing dedications. So the long life prayer for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In the snow-encircled land, you are the source of benefit and bliss. Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Gyatso, please remain in life until samsara end. Rinpoche, do you want to do it in Tibet?
Yes, Kauri Ravi Kurvi Shingamzu Kauri. And on the woman, Jesus, Shabazite Patu, thank you, Chi.
And then we have a prayer for health and long life for Khensur Rinpoche Lobzang Tsetan. May our beloved teacher, who endlessly inspires Throngs of being with his boundless love and clear wisdom always find himself strong in body and mind, that he can fulfill his vow to awaken us all. With profound gratitude for the multitude of gifts Khensur Rinpoche Lobzang Tsetan continues to bring to sentient beings, we pray for his robust health and long life, and we commit to embracing the path and great compassion he has so brilliantly shown, that our own practice may honor his deepest wish and repay, as best we can, his bountiful kindness.
With the dedication, prizes spring.
The brave Manjushri and also Samantabhadra realize things as they are. Hence, in order to follow their example, I dedicate these merits in the best way. With the dedication praised as supreme by the victorious one of the three times, I completely dedicate all these roots of virtue so that I might engage in the noble bodhisattva deeds. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore.
Okay.
Thank you, Rinpoche. That was wonderful teaching, and we'll see you next month.
Okay, see you next month, everyone.
Oh,
Happy Mother's Day.
Yes, happy Mother's Day to all.
Fortunately, it's time on the Sunday.
Yes, it does.
Yes, so family gather and with gathering with children is very important. This is today, so good day.
Good day.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
Rinpoche La, and
Thank
Mona,
you.
Bodhi, and everyone.
Okay.
Bye to all.
Oh,
That we can materially help the pandemic in India?
no, not at the moment. No, if there any needly, I will inform to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terrific.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.